It's interesting that for the past month, I haven't really been doing much writing or much video stuff because I've still been creative. It's been a year. I set out to be creative every day last November. It just started out as a month. I was like, oh, I'll see if I can turn it into 2. Then it was 3. And I think at that point I knew, like, yeah, I'm going for the year. And I've made it. For the past year, I've been making a concerted effort to do something creative every day. Especially at the beginning, I messed around with weekly or monthly goals and even weekly goals. I was keeping track of like what different projects I was doing during my weeks just to see where I was spending the most time and to make sure I wasn't abandoning projects. I forget when I stopped doing that, probably around the time that I gave up on having a theme. Part of why I gave up on the themes is I wasn't necessarily accomplishing those secondary goals, and it wasn't particularly helpful for, you know, helping me. One thing I did start in February, I started doing little calendar doodles to be like, hey, I'm not really gonna do the like weekly updates anymore. Instead, I started drawing on my calendar. I didn't expect that to turn into what it has. I'm completely off script at this point. I don't think I've ever followed a script real well. Scripts are more, I guess, for making sure I know what I'm wanting to talk about, apparently. And knowing what I have talked about, which I'm pretty sure I've just forgotten. I've grown a lot in the past year. There are new things I do now. When this started, I was trying to be more active on my blog, and I was trying to get a lot of editing done on my novel, which I haven't worked on in a really long time, but I think I might have to let that one sit. I've known it for too long. I think I need to make something else before I can be good enough to finish that story. I know the story of those characters is better than what exists right now. Don't worry, I still have copious notes all around my room that I'm pretty sure I still know what they mean. Hopefully I won't have forgotten by the time I pick this book back up. I wasn't expecting to get into that tonight. Huh. Guess I feel what I feel. I don't know if I'm gonna keep up the pushing for creative stuff besides the calendar doodles through December. I might just leave it at calendar doodles because there's a lot of creativity that goes into those now. It's hard to believe I started with just a box of crayons, and then I graduated to pens, and then I bought myself a full set of Sharpies, and a legend was born. I keep getting distracted. When the year started, I was doing YouTube, I was doing my blog, and I was writing my book. And that was basically it. Now, I draw. And I draw a lot. Like, I did Inktober this year. And even if it's a weird, like, I have the potential to both fail and not fail at the same time. Because technically, I drew every day for Ink of October. Well, I will have drawn. I have 3 days left. Here, look. Every day of October. Is not Inktober just a goal of drawing for every day in October? Those weren't the only drawings I did. I was also doing just plain black ink drawings. I think I've done 23 at the time of filming. Hopefully by the time this is edited and put up, I'll have done a few more at least. I've got a pencil sketch for one, and some reference photos for a couple more. I didn't draw before I started drawing on my calendar in February. Not that I didn't know how to draw. I drew some in high school, and you know, everyone draws when they were a kid, but I always found that I would get impatient with my inability to take the image in my head and put it on the paper in front of me. Logically, I knew that was a skill that could only come with time and practice. But, you know, when you want to draw a little illustration for a story you're writing, you don't want to, you know, spend months practicing drawing that character before you get something useful when you've, you know, already written the story. Just the simple act of drawing, like a little doodle every day. And they started out pretty bad. They weren't helped by the fact that I was doing it in crayon, but that was my way of almost shielding myself. Like, oh yeah, it looks bad because I'm not good, because, you know, I'm using a bad medium. It's not because I'm bad necessarily, although I wasn't great. And it was just a slow build to where I'm pretty happy with most things I draw now. Like, I legitimately draw places other than my calendar. It's amazing. Another thing, well, connected to the drawing, I do Twitch streaming now. It's been a little bit, I've taken a little bit of a break from it just because life has been a little insane recently, but I draw on stream, which is kind of a terrifying experience sometimes, especially when I don't really have a plan for what I'm doing before I sit down and start streaming and drawing. I also, since this year of creativity started, I have started playing Dungeons and Dragons. That has sparked my creativity in a way I didn't expect. For one thing, I draw a lot of stuff from D&D games that I either play or watch on YouTube and Twitch. I don't know where that thought was going. Did I write it down? Of course I didn't write it down. Why would I have written that down? I think D&D has helped me be a more confident person, like in front of the camera and stuff. A big part of that would be that I am now part of an RPG podcast. We don't play D&D, but it is a similar thing. So I'm not only like playing an RPG, but I'm also performing that RPG, which there's only a subtle difference, I guess. You're trying to be humorous and entertaining to more than just the people you're playing with when you're aware that other people will be listening to you. D&D has challenged my drawing abilities. I started drawing people, like actual faces, because faces scared me for a long time. They still kind of do, but because they scare me, I end up drawing them more times than not. I started drawing faces because there were D&D characters that I really wanted to draw. You can tell it's been a long time since I've written a script because I never wrote an end. Good job, Amber. I'd say probably the way I've grown as a writer the most is just kind of acknowledging that I don't know enough. Like, I don't have the experience yet. I'm not a good enough writer to write the story I've been trying to write since high school. This video is kind of the first time I'm saying that out loud. I don't know what I might try to write instead. I write what I feel. I'm sure there are a lot of just stray sentences and the notes on my computer and the notes on my phone and various notebooks and journals that I could piece together and form into several blog posts at this point, probably. Because I will just like, oh, I haven't done anything creative. And before it got to where I was just like, well, just sit down and draw something, it was like just picking a random thought I'd had that day and writing it out and seeing where my brain went with it. And that's a really fun exercise, and it's an exercise that I'd like to get back to. I did say, maybe I didn't. I feel like I said, I know I thought it. This is why I question reality. I never know if I actually say a thing or do a thing or if I just think I did. I wish I was kidding. I'm really not. I thought I sent my mom a text yesterday and only realized I hadn't when I heard her coming down the stairs. I know I said I don't know that I'm gonna keep up doing creative things apart from drawing on my calendar for the next, well, 3 months. I have 3 more months before I've done calendar doodles for a full year, because I started in February like a dork instead of, having the idea at the beginning of January. I had the idea at the end. Go figure. In November, I might try and get back to writing, and like not even writing to share necessarily, just taking one of those random thoughts that pop in my head and running with it. And, maybe it'll end up as a blog post, maybe it'll end up as a video. Maybe I'll just ramble about it in a Twitch stream for a while. Or I'll save it and it'll turn into something else. That's the real reason you should save writing. Like, save the little, like, notes to yourself that, like, not the notes to yourself, like, hey, remember to get your keys, although those are important too, but just the turns of phrase that strike you as odd, or the words that you just have fun with when you hear them. The little stories you tell yourself when you're bored and staring at a car window. Save those, because you never know what they could turn into. I don't know what this video is about. This video was about creativity, and it was kind of all over the place, but it's accurate to my creativity. I never know where creativity will lead me. And that's what's so exciting about it. When you use your imagination, it can take you places you never expect. And I would have never expected my life to look the way it does now. I think that's all I got. I do much more talking about creativity and D&D and how it's affected me. I might start crying. So we won't do that. If you've ever just done a creative challenge for yourself, let me know. You don't have to have done a full year of creativity, and I can't be positive that I literally did something every day for the past year, because there were several times where I was horribly sick that I, might not have actually done something. There is at least one time where I know I just wrote a couple sentences on 2 different projects that I don't think ever went anywhere, and that was my creativity for the day because I was feeling so terrible. Has my camera been crooked this entire time? Standing on my notebook. I'm not filming that again. Oh well. If you enjoyed it, this mess, you know what to do. If you're interested in my drawing streams, go check out my Twitch. I'll put a link in the description below. And to know when I'm streaming Twitch, besides following, obviously, you can follow me on Twitter. I do a lot of things over there, and most of my drawing ends up either on Twitter or Instagram, and all the links will be in the description. But yeah, here's to another year. We'll see where it goes. Thanks for listening to my ramble, guys. Bye.